Okay, so that's where we're working. So, when you're choosing your tools and you're choosing what you're, like you've already chosen your story, and I hope that you've chosen your theme. And you want to think, is this theme that you've chosen right now, is this something that overall can be seen throughout the whole story, and that mankind could look at it and go, okay, I could learn this story. I could learn this from the story. So, here's what we're going to do. How many of you chose the things they carried? Okay? All right. So, okay. Here's what I want you to do. We're going to say we're going to go down the line, and I don't want you to read a thesis. Nobody wants you to hear you read the thesis. Good gravy biscuits, that'd kill us all. But just like if you had to take the theme, just a few words that are what you'd learn, the moral or the lesson that you'd learn. We're just going to go down the line, and I want to hear them because I need to stop you right now if you are choosing something that isn't really an overarching theme, okay? Because if you were to go in that direction, then the whole paper would kind of be screwed up. That's the first thing we got to look at, okay? So all my little hand-raising people that said the thing, and I'm going to do it with everybody. Everybody in this room is going to have to say it for whatever your essay is. Me, your theme is, hit it.
That there had not been any morality in the war.
No morality in the war, okay? Who else has got the things they carried? Sarah Kate?
A soldier can never really get over the things that they carry.
Okay, a soldier cannot really ever get over the things they carry, okay?
Not all the men wanted to fight, they were more than just soldiers.
More than soldiers, okay? Not just they're not weapons themselves, okay? Did you have it, baby Tiani? Okay, what'd you choose?
With physical burdens comes emotional hardship.
Okay, all right. With physical burdens comes emotional. I like that. Abby, did you do that one? No? Trini? No? Aubrey?
They face both mental and physical challenges.
Okay, face mental and physical challenges to what? Like the overall thing that you could learn?
Not just fighting, there's a mental fight.
Okay, all right. That'll be better. Yes, that'll make it stronger. Jayla? You're not that one? Yes? No? Yes?
The burdens of the soldiers.
The burdens that the soldiers carry.
That's what I put.
Burdens, okay.
The physical and mental pressures placed upon soldiers during war.
Okay. And yeah. Jay?
The physical and psychological weight of soldiers in Vietnam.
Okay. What's yours?
I didn't put about physical. I put war with your mind.
Okay, so you're just going to focus on just the mental aspect of it
Yeah.
all. Okay, that's fine. Did any of y'all do this story? No? Okay. Then how many of you did a good man is hard to find? Okay. Pete, what's your theme part of that?
That no one is perfect and all have sinned and fell short of the glory of God.
Shut your mouth. Go on. Go on with your Romans quote. All right, go on, Emma.
I put the granny brings out that in the story she is rotten and sinful on the inside, yet acts like she is good on the outside.
Okay, so you want to talk about how is anybody really, truly good on the inside? Like when you do your theme, you want to make sure that it's not, you don't want to just say granny, like make sure that anybody could apply it to themselves. But what you're saying about her is good. Okay, Luce?
In reality, God looks at all sin the same.
Okay.
No one is truly good.
Okay.
The idea of goodness and what makes a truly good man.
Okay.
The grim humor and the fierce belief in the possibility of redemption.
Yes, sister. All right. Okay. Is that everybody? That was everybody. Okay. So nobody's choosing any other essay than that.
I didn't choose yours.
What'd you choose, lover?
The Telltale Heart.
Oh, cool. Okay. What'd you choose for your theme?
Your guilty conscience will catch up to you eventually.
Okay. All right. So now, first of all, and this is just on my mind because Desiree just talked, so that's why it's on my mind. Let me say that remember when we do these kinds of essays, babies, there won't be first person at all. Okay? This isn't you telling this story. You are a literary critic now. And they would never go, I think. They wouldn't do that. They would just say it like it's a fact. So if Desiree was going to say, I think that or like she said, your guilty conscience will eventually come out, then you would just say, eventually one's guilty conscience will come out. Okay? So make sure that you don't do any first person. Now, I'm so proud of y'all, first of all, because your themes seem to be in the right direction. Okay? Now, what you always want to do, babies, is once you've chosen your theme, your tools that you choose always have to point to it. So I'm going to be asking you to ask yourself why, how, okay? A lot of times. Now, for example, if, actually let me change the screen and put up a different story. I've got one going for the lottery. And that's good because none of us are doing the lottery, so we can kind of play around with it. Yeah, everybody's like, oh, okay. Let's change. Okay, so this is on the sheet of paper. Like if you want to look at it, the truth is I'm about to be writing on the board some too, but if you want to look at it yourself, it's on the thing that was like the instructions, the first page of your packet. Okay. Here, I'm gonna make this a little bigger. This part right here is my thesis. Like I said, for example, since you may not write about the lottery, you may examine how Jackson uses, so this would kind of be like my theme. Jackson uses symbolism, irony, and characterization to convey the dangers of blindly following tradition. That would sort of be like my thesis statement. So I'm just going to highlight it in yellow so we can keep up with it.
Simple.
Now, oh, yeah. It really is a simple sentence. Even though we've had all of those different lists in there, it really is a simple sentence. Okay, so now, because I listed it in that order, my first one was symbolism. So naturally, my first body paragraph should be symbolism. I gotta keep it the same, okay? Now, you know how I used to teach you that your whole paper was sort of like a hamburger? The intro is your top bun, then you got your 3 body paragraphs, and that is, I don't know, you could say like that's your toppings, lettuce, tomato, and the meat, however you want to say that, and then you got your bottom bun, which is your conclusion. And then I try to get you to remember that every body paragraph is like a little crystal burger. It has its little own intro, and it has its meat in the middle, and then it has its concluding, its bottom bun. So this is a little crystal burger. This sentence is my first sentence. This is my opening sentence. And what I'm saying in it, I got the author's name, and I have symbolism in there. But what am I trying to say about symbolism in this story? I'm saying that the chick uses it because she wants to represent how the effects of death and decay, when blindly following tradition. See how this part is still pointing to my theme, my thesis up there? Okay? So now I've got to find examples in the story that show symbolism. So just thinking about the lottery, it's obvious that the black box has a ton of symbolism in it. So if my first example was going to be a quote that describes the black box, okay? So I'm just going to say, black box Now, that's quote. I'm not writing a quote on the board. Okay? Now, I gotta say something about it. What my mind thinks about it. And if I can't take the black box and I can't straight point it back to the dangers of blindly following tradition, I probably shouldn't use it. Okay? How could that black box, remember babies, they talked about the black box was faded, just like the tradition was sort of fading away and other towns were kind of letting it go. And they said it was splintered. And just like how it's sort of falling apart, you know, in that town, and people were starting to say, I don't know if we should do this or not. And then the color itself being black, a lot of times we think about death with that. Could that box itself, they held on to that box. They tried to keep pieces of the same original box all the time. Doesn't that show how they just kept everything the same all the time? They didn't really question it. They wanted it all to be the same as it always had been. And it's ultimately leading to somebody's death. And that's a danger of blindly following tradition. Okay? So I have to say that with the quote about the book, about the box. I've got to explain how that goes back with the dangers of following tradition. Okay? So I might say a sentence like, the symbolism of the box shows how even, sorry my handwriting was awful, even though the tradition is fading. Oh God, let's see, y'all would ask. Those other kids would sit there, I'd be laid out on the floor dead.
We've all been talking about it.
Oh, I love it. I'm gonna try to go low. The thing is my bell ringers, like, they're already set up high, like when they present on the board, they're up high, and I already kind of have to stretch a lot to get to the top of it. So, I know, which you know is a dangerous thing. Then I'd be getting on the steps. All in all. Oh, it's bad. Okay, so,
I thought about it, but I don't think they'd want me to write.
I want meat.
Please, they wouldn't be able to read it.
Well, I hate the meat for
We'd be writing in a different language.
Sorry.
it's my second language.
Me?
Meathead.
Okay, I know I wrote this little, it's sloppy, and people on the video might not can see it good. So my example one on there says the black box. I would give the quote about the black box, and then I would say the symbolism of the box shows how even though the tradition is fading and falling apart, just as the condition of the box is. I shouldn't have said how even though the tradition shows, though the tradition. Anyway, I don't think that's worded right. Shows how even. Shows how the tradition is fading. Yeah. That's what I need to do. Is just take out even though. That's the issue. Because it makes it sound like I should have something else coming after it. That's why. Okay. Now, what's another example that shows symbolism in that story?
The dishes. She's late.
She's late, but it never really talks about the dishes. Like, it doesn't say, here's what the dishes looks like. The dot itself. You are selected and chosen. It's like the mark of death, you know, you can kind of consider. Like your end of your life. I like it. Yes. The period at the end of a sentence, like a dot, like it's the end of your life.
Hey, nerd.
I like that. That was good, baby. That was good, Lise. Okay? So,
You're trying to bully me.
Every single one. If I talked about the dot, the period at the end of the sentence, could that go back to the dangers of blindly following tradition? Yes. It's always got to point back to your theme. If it doesn't, if you can't make the tool work or whatever, then you can't choose it, babies. Okay? And then the next one I chose irony because I said she's using irony because she wants to shock the reader of the dangers of small town America. Like, in small town America, those are places where people do carry on and hold on to traditions. Sometimes even if they don't make sense. So I felt like I could prove more about that theme by using that. Remember, sweethearts, that you're building an umbrella that's your theme. And consider that what you're doing of your tools, every tool, all your 3 tools, have got to hold the weight of your umbrella. If they cannot hold the weight of your umbrella, then it cannot work. So you definitely have several to choose from up here, but I'm gonna tell you, not every single one of them. Like, if I try to talk about characterization in the lottery, we don't develop a lot of characters. We talk about Tessie, she's late, and then we see her fuss and stuff that like she hasn't been getting enough time, but we don't really know enough about her to know what she was like before, to know if she was round or flat or dynamic or static. So that, and I couldn't take her character and then point it to the dangers of blindly following tradition. It just wouldn't work. So I wouldn't choose characterization, okay? It always has to point to your theme. So I want you to evaluate the 3 that you have, okay? The 3 that you have listed right now. I want you to evaluate. And if you can, out to the side of those 3, like if you wrote characterization, irony, symbolism, out to the side of them, will you just write for your mind, not for my reading, but for your mind, how you know that is going to help point to your theme. Y'all's themes were good. I just approved all your themes. You're good. Don't doubt yourself on your themes, but ask yourselves and write down beside it, this is how I'm going to connect it to the theme. Right beside it, how you know it's going to connect to the theme. I'm going to pause this for just a second.